We have a fifth line day. We're in gate 43, and the fifth line is called progression. Ra tells us that this is the weakest of all the fifth lines. We have reached the point in the hexagram now where the process is complete. And in gate 43, we find this line of progression. This is a fascinating line, really, because the emphasis here is on understanding the nature of the other. The fifth line already recognizes its knowing when it's there. It has its knowing, but its greatest concern is not about what it knows, but whether it is going to be able to get its knowing across to the other side. The only way that these people can do that is when they have a deep understanding of the other, so that they're able to recognize when and with whom they can get their knowing out. This is the whole thing about the knower. If you look at the 2212 at the social channel for the individual, it has the capacity to recognize within the mood when the timing is right, when it is a good time to go out as an individual and offer its knowing and its explanation. In the exaltation, we have the step-by-step adaptation to relationships which hinder breakthrough through practical actions which will not jeopardize eventual success. The gift of knowing when a unique insight can be shared effectively with others. First, let me seduce them, and if I succeed in seducing them, then I will give them my knowing, because then it will be easier, because then they are already ready to accept me, rather than treating me as a freak. So here, the very practicality of this line kind of gets in the way. The moment that an individual is dependent on others for the way in which their expression takes place, they've already abandoned their nature. And yet they have no choice. It is in fact an aspect of the totality. Their gift of being able to come in a time of crisis with something practical is that they're basing the timing on information, or the call, you could say. The call that they're getting from someone else. So they're not in control of that. In the detriment, a tendency to concentrate on harmonizing relationships that tend to strengthen the position of restrictive forces rather than benefiting the breakthrough. An over-reliance on the receptivity of others that turns harmony into the conditioner of individual expression. This is someone who says, oh, I'm not going to tell my mother what I know about her because it will create problems. Or I'm not going to tell my best friend what I know about them because it will lead to them alienating me. There won't be any mutation there. There'll just be arguments and I'll lose them as a friend. And I'm only going to tell what I know to people who ask me, who are my friends anyway, and who are ready to hear what I've got to say. And so the transpersonal is getting in the way. The fifth line is not here to universalize to friends and family. Their message is much better received by strangers. Those who call on them and then are happy to see the back of them once the crisis has been resolved or the insight has been explained. Through the genetic continuity of a line, all fifth lines out of all the 64 hexagrams, they will have some positions that are natural for them and others that are unnatural, because this is the opportunity for the full spectrum of fifth line possibility to emerge. Here, the very transpersonal gift of being seductive, it doesn't work to the benefit of the knower. It might work to the benefit of knowing, and it's an important distinction to make, but not to the benefit of the knower. Fifth lines are very concerned about what people think about them. They worry about their reputation and they are afraid of being rejected and burned at the stake. The 43.5 recognizes that their knowing can be dangerous for them unless they have a good relationship with the people they're sharing it with. This is the key in their process. The exaltation has the gift of knowing when a unique insight can be shared effectively with others, the other side being an over-reliance on the receptivity of others that turns harmony into the conditioner of individual expression. This can be deeply frustrating for the knower. You know, the dilemma for this line is no longer whether they can explain themselves or not, but it's whether they really understand people or not. Unless they understand people, they will always have difficulty in getting their knowing across. So the grounding is coming through the 23 in the fifth line called assimilation. This is the practical acceptance of the values of another path. All fifth lines are projected on for what society wants from the hexagram. In this channel, we have fifth lines who don't have to shout that they know anything because it's projected on them that they know, you know, and they are asked for their knowing. And then that has the possibility for being expressed and assimilated. The moon, it moves into the sacral gate 27 at 11 minutes past 10, 11 this morning. This is the tribal gate of caring and nourishment. It's a gate that tells us that we must take care of ourselves before we look after anyone else. This is how we ensure that we will have the energy to be of service. The foundation of this line is selfishness. At 10 past 7 this evening, the moon moves into gate 24. This is another Ajna gate. It's another individual gate, and it's in the same stream as our Sun-Earth combination. This is the gate of return, where individual insights are returned to again and again before they are rationalized, and they pass through the Ajna into the 43 and eventually the 23 for expression. And at 11 minutes past 4 tomorrow morning, got lots of 11s today, 11 minutes past 10, 11 minutes past 7, and 11 minutes past 4 tomorrow morning, the moon moves into gate 2. This is the seat of the driver, the home of the magnetic monopole. This is a gate in the G center, which we know is the center for love and direction. Gate 2 is another individual gate. There's so much focus on individuality right now, one way and another. So this is the receptive. It's a very yin gate. It's the most yin of all the gates because it has 6 yin lines that make up its hexagram structure. Okay. Yeah, that's our 5th line for gate 43. We're into the top of the hexagram tomorrow, the last gate. Last line, line 6 tomorrow. I look forward to seeing you then. And thank you for joining me. Go gently.